Um, yeah. So my take on it is this: we all, regardless of whatever your beliefs are, you're only in this body one time. Uh, so what we're talking about tonight is are a couple of topics. We're talking about how to move beyond pain, how to restore your body through movement, through science-based movement, and then we're also going to be discussing, and I kind of listed them in reverse order, I guess. Are you training for life, or are you training for medals? And want to talk about the necessary cautionary tales that are really too often ignored in many populations about the dangers of long-term high magnitude impact on joint and skeletal, I'm sorry, joint and muscular health and mobility. So the first couple of things that we were discussing have to do with, when we look at, John was talking about the 2 cents that we have, is he said that on his side of things, it's something we want to look at as kind of buyer beware. If you're going to get into any kind of competitive, especially the longer that you spend doing it, if you're going to get into any kind of competitive sports endeavor, just understand that these are the long-term impacts. For me, I do feel the same way. I feel that communication about those long-term impacts is often significantly below what it should be. But it's also one of those things where you talk about the dangers of eating fast food all the time. There was a movie that was really popular years and years ago called Super Size Me, and it was about this guy who ate nothing but McDonald's for a certain period of time, and he talked about the health and the impacts of his health, or on his health, from adopting a nothing but McDonald's diet. So this one guy got a little miffed about that, and he made his own movie. He self-funded the movie where he also ate nothing but McDonald's, but all he did was make different food choices, or he ate mostly McDonald's, and all he did was make different food choices with the stuff that was available at McDonald's, and all of his levels improved.
Well, I was going to say too is that the first one was he was going to, every time they asked him to supersize it, he had to supersize it, right?
Right.
And he had a different angle too, I think, of that person was showing, versus the next person had a different, to your point, he was saying you can do this. It's kind of like if it fits your macros mindset. Like if it fits your macros, you can still lose weight and eat sugar all the time. I think, there was another content creator that did that.
Well, but exactly. But the thing is that the second guy, and I forget what his name was. At some point, if we post this up somewhere else, we'll try and include a link to both movies. But the second guy, he brought up a really good point when he said, "Look, whatever, there's all this shit about going after McDonald's for providing what it provides, or for offering what it offers, not provides, right?" And the same thing can be true of like some supersized drink that you get at a convenience store or whatever. And the guy goes, "Look, but if I want to do that, that's basically, if I want to go eat McDonald's and whatever I want to eat there, that's between me and McDonald's." And Uh, couple that with, and I'm getting to the point here. Couple that with, there's this one content creator who I like a lot. Who he'll frequently stand outside of a gas station or grocery store, and he'll hold up like a pack of like highly processed, very popular cookies or whatever. Go, I don't give a fuck if these have like this dye and this flavor and this additive. And he goes, I once spent a whole weekend trying to look for like little freebasing tar balls on the floor of this hotel room that I had rented out because I was so addicted to heroin, you know. And he was like, I don't give a fuck if this has that, you know, like it was one of those things where he was like, you know, I live my life so hardcore a certain way. This thing, you know, I can't start complaining now. The reason for saying all that is that it really is a buyer beware, and there's no way for you to really gauge the impact or the cost that you are demanding from your future self, or how important that's going to be to you. And the more and more that you borrow from your future self, I mean, we're facing that kind of globally right now, you know, with like available resources and inflation kind of thing. Don't fucking come to me over politics, regardless of what kind of fucking aisle you stand on. It doesn't matter. The fact is, right, that resources are less available. And and there's really no way to gauge the impact, or there's really no way to determine how you're going to feel, future you is going to feel about what past you did. But what you can do is gauge how current you feels about how past you behaved, right? And I'm not sure. I have no studies to back this up, but I'm more familiar with people regretting than I am with people celebrating what they did in their past. Anyway.
Sorry, I was trying to check our audio.
It's all right. Is it coming through okay?
Yeah, it sounds just echo to me, but it might just be, I don't know. Yep. I was just seeing a lot of feedback or something on my end, so I was trying to see if it was coming through stream. So
okay. So when you look at competitive athletics, there's a certain amount of understanding that you have to have about what it takes to be a competitive athlete. The thing about being a non-competitive athlete, when you're just going into the gym or into your favorite sport or exercise modality, whatever it is, and you're getting like an overall sense of peace or well-being or, you know, physical fitness or whatever your goals are, if you're just meeting like some personal and individual goals that nobody really outside of you, I mean, except for maybe your immediate circle, is going to celebrate, that's one thing. And built into that is, while it's not always adhered to, built into it is the caution that comes along with respecting your body or the space that you're in or paying attention to injuries or whatever else, all of which have multi-billion-dollar complexes around them, right? Around when you don't pay attention to those things and you have to recover, right? Yep. Get this device or this utility or this tool or go to this service that'll help. And that's all well and good, but we have to understand that when we go into competitive athletics, that cautionary aspect of it is talked about, but not really adhered upon. Everybody talks about being safe, staying safe, but there just simply isn't the availability of maintaining a similar kind of workout or athletic endeavor and making it competitive against people who want to be better than you at whatever you're doing. So they will go the lengths that it takes and whatever's allowable by the organizations that you're both involved in. They'll go through whatever lengths are necessary to get there. And so then you do too.
Well, to that point, there's two big let's call them idols or figures that we've kind of talked off stream about, and we're kind of talked here about it. One of them is Earl Campbell, and not getting into his story so much right now, but what you're talking about reminds me of my hometown football team. We had a player named Adrian, what was his name? Not Adrian Peterson, Arian Foster. And he was a phenomenal running back. He came out out of nowhere and just like took the league by storm. and he got injured, and he kind of played the game for a little while. And after he got out of the league, I remember hearing him talk about his experience, and he goes, like, in the NFL, you're never injured, because as soon as you say you're injured, you get labeled as like a fragile player, or you get labeled as an injury risk. And so you don't get to take time off. You don't get to actually mend and heal properly, because, and it's the nature of the beast to some degree, right? Is there's always someone else that wants to play in the NFL. There's always somebody else that's going to be willing to play in the, like, I always look at it this way. There's 32 teams. I think they have like 75 players, maybe it's 55. But a college team has like 120. Like, I know there's 32 NFL teams. I have no clue how many college teams there are, like 100 plus of D1 or Division One, the top tier. But then there's still like D2 and D3, and then there's probably a bunch of other little spin-offs. And so there's plenty of bodies, so to speak, to go into the meat grinder. And you know, again, where is it that you make that choice for yourself to take care of your well-being, or however, right? And some people are fortunate in that, you know, I think there's two players that I think are really amazing examples of taking care of themselves. I think first one is Tom Brady. I mean, granted, he played quarterback and he was a pocket passer, so he had a lot less of getting hit, but he had a big major knee injury, maybe later part of his career, late late 30s. And he came back after that just as a beast. Part of his regiment, at least from what he displayed, was he started exercising more of bands and focusing more on mobility exercises. And he also made a big diet shift. I'm not sure if he went vegetarian or vegan, but he also he lost a little bit of extra weight, so to speak, and leaned out. The other one I think is an amazing story is Adrian Peterson. And he was he was a phenom in college. I remember watching him in high school, and that man just was like, he was a legend from college all the way into the NFL. And he ended up breaking, I think, the single season rushing record after he blew out his knee.
Okay.
Like he broke, like ran for over like 25,000 yards in a season or something. I don't remember what the number was, but it was outrageous. And he had an entire year off where he recovered from a knee injury. And I feel that that's what set him apart. He was already a hell of an athlete. He was already a hell of a workhorse. But that knee injury allowed him, he took the proper time, I feel, I can't remember when the injury happened, whether it was at the end of the season, so he was able to just take the full year off. But he took an entire season off, rehabbed his knee, and came back stronger and better than youngins that were coming in the league. It's a team sport, so he had a good line and things of that nature, but he still had to carry the ball. And so to that point, right, you can get to that top echelon, but you also have to be already at that top tier to be able to demand that kind of respect for your body. Because there's plenty of quarterbacks with blown out knees, and that just like, next one, but you have 6 rings already.
It's also one of those things about, you know, like we miss the important, for anybody that goes, well, see, that person did it. The important part of the conversation that they had to take the year off because of whatever, right? Yeah. I mean, have you ever felt the pressure to push through pain, even if you're like just doing it for a weekend, but like you push through, you go and participate in something, and then you get hurt, and it's for fun. I mean, it could be like swimming, whatever, right?
So this is maybe related. So in high school, I was just playing some backyard football with some friends, right? Some friends from church or whatever. We went over to their house and was playing in the backyard or at the park. And we were playing full tackle football. We were dumb 16-year-olds or something like that. And I think I twisted my ankle or rolled my ankle. And so Monday when I got to football practice the next day, I was like, Coach, man, I rolled my ankle. And I was playing some backyard football and mistake one. Telling the truth.
Yeah.
But that coach got so pissed at me. He's like, we got a chance to play for district this year, and you playing grab ass on the weekend and blowing it. And I just remember sitting there, icing my ankle, like, look, I ain't going to college to play ball, man. Like, I just try to have fun with my friends and whatnot. Like, I get it. I get what you're saying, and I see the argument, but like, I'm second string.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, but even when you're not okay, so one time when I was traveling, I met this guy who worked at a hotel, and super great guy. We were talking. I was like, so what led you here? To work here and at that hotel? And he said, well, I actually came here to this city. He was not from the country that we were in. He said, I actually came here because on scholarship for soccer.
oh wow.
He called it football. Yeah, for football. And I was like, oh, okay. And I go, well, how did that translate over into this? And he goes, well, we were playing, we're on the field practicing, and the sprinkler system that watered at night, right? One of the heads did not descend into the ground, and they're metal. And he goes, and it cut my Achilles tendon. Now it didn't cut it all the way through. It just like cut it part way. And he was like, and I had to go get surgery. But because of that, I lost my scholarship.
Yeah.
And then I had no way to pay for my way back home. And he goes,
that's kind of fucked. Like,
completely
I know
fucked.
this is a different topic, but it's like you brought them here to play this game. Like,
Yep.
as the organization, I mean, you should be there to, like, a professional organization would have at least paid for his medical bills. I hope at least the school somehow took care of his medical expenses. But
I don't know.
damn.
He said though that it cost him his scholarship. He ultimately could not continue to go to school. And I go, well, why didn't you go home? And he goes, well, I mean, I was dating this woman, and
life.
she didn't want to move. Yeah, life happened. So he's like, and I love my life. And I was like, no, I get it. I was just curious, right? So, but the reason why I brought the story up is because when the coach looked at him and said, how bad is that? And he goes, well, I mean, like it hurts to extend my leg, and I feel like I can feel it, kind of other stuff popping. And the coach said, well, let's go ahead and get you to the hospital. So they went to the hospital, and the doctor said, oh, you are very lucky. If you had any amount more, and your Achilles tendon would have snapped. As it is, you still need surgery. Something, I don't know what the full story is, right? But then the coach was there and said, well, how long before he can get back on the field? And the doctor was like, well, I mean, months, right? Like months. And that was it. The doctor was like, and the doctor said it won't be for months. When the doctor left to go do whatever, the coach looked at him and he said, okay, how long do you think it is before you get back on the field?
Yeah.
He hadn't even gotten
like what is
corrective surgery yet.
Maybe if that.
Yeah.
And yeah. And that's like all sports. Like, I remember even in high school, I went to a small Christian high school, right? Mm-hmm. And our coaches would be like, are you hurt or are you injured? Yeah. And if you answered that question the wrong way, right, you got pulled off the field, and you knew it.
So there was a study done in the British Journal of Sports Medicine that found a strong and consistent link between high-level sports participation and the development of osteoarthritis.
Oh, yeah.
The paper highlighted that the repeated high-demand loading on joints, especially hips, knees, and ankles, leads to premature joint degeneration. The study concluded that long-term consequences of sports injuries and high-volume training on joint health are a major public health concern. And this was published in 2016.
To that point, I remember hearing, I think it may have been, he's one of the big influencers out there that talks about, he's one of the better ones bringing science into athleticism and sports and things. And it's not the more plates dates guy. But he kind of reminds me of him. Maybe it is the more plates dates. Anyways, They're talking about, no, it couldn't have been him. Anyways, they're talking about how they look at spines of athletes and then weekend warriors in an x-ray, and they would have them like, what's your pain level? And then they'd have these x-rays, and they'd have one set of x-rays that looked like a very normal spine, so to speak. Maybe there's a little asymmetry here or there, a little bulge, or maybe a rupture in a disc or something. And then you had another one that just looked like someone took a box of Lincoln Logs and just like shook them up, and then like that was the spine, right?
Yeah.
The ones that were all jumbled up, those individuals said they had less pain than the ones with the very clean looking spines. It was athletes, professional athletes or college athletes that had those jumbled up spines. And so I do know that, you know, we do get, call it pain intolerance, or we desensitize pain when we move. The body just kind of says, all right, this is what we got to do. We're going to do it. So there, I understand that phenomenon, but I also wonder, like, how do you control for that sense of, again, you give the wrong answer, you get pulled. And to some of these young men and women out there, like, that's been their entire lives working to that point, and they know the game. Like, they know the numbers.
Yeah.
Like, that's again, it's one of those, it's that carrot versus the stick. If you ain't going to do the job like we want and expect, well, guess what? We got about 3 other dudes just waiting at the bit to get out here. So how you going to handle it?
You know, a great number of my clients that I see on a onesies and twosies basis, who you know, they'll drift in, drift out, are typically people who are, you know, one of the many people that we rely on, but don't really integrate as a part of our normal lives, right? Like even if we ourselves are wage workers, we don't tend to think about the plight of other wage workers, right? So when you have somebody who had a weight training accident and hurt their shoulder, and that person is a server at a restaurant, now their livelihood is impacted, so they have to push past that pain, right? And that's like a non-competitive thing. But let's say that you're going for a competitive title. You're not currently sponsored. You're not currently on anybody's payroll other than where you work. This thing is just a passion so far, right? Eventually, maybe you'll get sponsored, some supplement company or some gear or some gear manufacturer. This kind of gear, yeah, not the other kind of gear. Some kind of merch or supplement too, company. Though. Yeah, they do. True. They'll before they pick up the tab on your life, you know, it's what you do outside of the gym that pays your bills.
Yeah.
And now you've got this injury and you can't compete in your livelihood. I knew one person, I've known plenty of people who were servers that had, you know, some arm or shoulder or neck injury that really challenged them from being able to not just get ready for their competition, but actually perform the duty that paid their bills.
It's just my buddies at the jiu-jitsu academy or the jiu-jitsu school is, you know, I did 1 or 2 I did 2 competitions. The first one I did really well, I think. The second one I popped a rib. And, you know, I've never done another competition. I don't know that I'll ever do another competition. Like, it's fun, it's exciting, and I get all of that, and it's right. But at the end of it, like, at my level, like, I'm only playing for a chunk of Chinese, you know, carbon steel spray painted in gold or silver, right? Like, it's not going to be anything I could even take to the scrap shop and make any money off of, right? It's right, like, I got this one back here. Like, it's a great paperweight. It is a great paperweight. But I mean, that's all it does. It collects dust. It's not going to get me a job anywhere, and it sure as hell isn't going to go, hey, I got a thing from some random league in Houston for jiu-jitsu. Pay me $50.
So we're talking about both short-term impact on livelihood, but also long-term impact on actual just feelings of wellness. And just because, you know, like you were talking earlier about pain desensitizing your desensitizing your ability to feel pain. And what you're after, or what you're describing, is kind of like what a pain reliever that you take does. Whenever you take acetaminophen or ibuprofen, that's not getting rid of what caused the issue. Right. Like, that's your fever reducer.
At best, if you're taking it for like a pain issue, right, is it's calming down the inflammation that you probably need, but it's calming down the inflammation. So maybe at best you could then do maybe some corrective type exercises. And I think of it always trying to get like the old little crank start engines, like on my grandpa's lawnmower, you had to put a little thing in the front of the engine and crank it, and then it would actually start. So I always think of it that way, like, you know, massage, passive techniques, right? All of those do things great to help you potentially do the corrective exercise to help calm the system. But if all we do is we pop the pills, get the shot, you know, get the scoping done, and then we just go on like nothing ever happened, well, we're gonna, like what your aunt says, you keep doing the same things, you're gonna keep getting the same.
You need to have the cigarette.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you keep doing what you're doing, you don't keep getting what you're getting.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so again, there's landmark I called out 2 individuals that I think made just miraculous and ridiculous turnarounds, but like if they are the 2% just to be at that level, like then they are the 0.01% who actually, quote unquote, did the right thing to get their bodies right, to then they'll be able to perform. Many go down like the effort of like we've been describing, and so that's where, again, like a Ronnie Coleman or Earl Campbell, and that is by far, maybe theirs is an extreme like devastation to their bodies, but by far that is probably closer more to the average than we really want to admit.
Yep. You know, so we're talking about like breakdowns in long-term mobility or joint health, osteoarthritis, and those kinds of things, right? There's also other impacts to consider, like cardiovascular health. There was a study in the Journal of American College of Cardiology that suggested that chronic volume overload from decades of intense training can lead to maladaptive remodeling of the heart's chambers,
probably an enlarged heart,
increasing the risk of arrhythmia. That was from 2017. The neurological health impacts are well documented. There was a study over chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which examined the brains of deceased football players, found that the duration of a player's career was a significant predictor in the severity of their chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Well, I mean, you think about that, right? Like, you have, probably the top speed of a human is 20, 25 miles an hour sprinting. And you have 200-pound human beings going head on.
At least 200 pounds, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what I remember my mom saying, like, you know, every football tackle is like a mini car accident.
Yeah. It truly,
that,
I mean,
like a running back maybe on a high end has about 30 runs, maybe 40 if it's a really heavy run game. Quarterback's probably throwing 20 to 40 times. So that's the offense. So we have 60, 70 plays in a game for, you know, half the team, and then there's another 60 to 70 plays for the other half of the team, and that's not including practice.
Well, right. And when, you know, like if you look at like school zones,
20 miles an hour.
You go 20 miles an hour through a school zone in the U.S. I don't know about, you know, other places,
10 kilometers.
20 miles an hour. That is not because the risk of mortality with impact decreases.
Right.
At all. That is because your capability to stop effectively increases.
Right.
And that's it. Right. So we need to really identify that there is a certain degree of foreknowledge and acceptance of the impact that should go along with competitive athletics. The risks are there, and well documented, and those are the majority rule, right? If it's long-term, high demand, and you're in some kind of competition, you will eventually feel the repercussions of that. And the thing is, like I talked about earlier, is that because you have to exceed safety limits in order to achieve the next level of whatever, because whoever else you're going up against is doing it too. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just be aware that you are borrowing heavily from future you.
Yeah. And
You know?
again, it's not to say like I'm sure it'd be a hell of an experience to be able to play at that level and to be able to succeed at that level. But again, I think too often we don't realize what it costs. You know, and I think more and more players are realizing that these days, where we're seeing maybe people maybe only playing for like in the NFL for maybe 4 to 6 years versus trying to stretch it out to 10 or 12 and try to hold on to that past glory, or this is my chance to get that Super Bowl, even if I'm riding the pine. Like, even if you're a bench player, you're still out there every practice. And sure, maybe in the NFL, they've reduced their full contact practices, but you can't get ready for a game if you don't practice like the game. And so you're always going to have that. And again, I always think back to is like, who's paying you? Like you had brought that up earlier. Like who's
well, no, I was going
to
to say, you asked the question. I've heard you ask the question before. So, something around like, regardless of what money you're making now, who's going to pay you to be broken in 40 years?
Yeah, that's even better. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, you've said that. You've said that before. So the reframing of that, talk about that for a second.
So like, I guess the way I kind of think about it is like, we all gonna die, not to be morbid and like morose about it, but like
the fact of life,
it is what it is. Like I've been wrestling with that bitch all year. I hit 38, man. And like, it hit me like a ton of bricks the other day. It's like, oh my God, like, is it tomorrow? You know? And so,
man, maybe that's going to hit me when I turn 38.
Yeah. Again.
Anyway, go ahead.
God bless my father. Big math nerd. Big math nerd. He will occasionally tell his age in hex, because there's certain numbers in hex that I think when he was like 50 or something, it was like he was 3H or 30H or something like that. And so you can, use a little sly play of your syllables or your diction, so to speak, to be able to confuse people. Oh, you're 38? No, 30H. So that's what
Let's
I got.
See. So anyway, go ahead.
But okay, so I get it. Like, we're not going to get out of this world alive. And so I'm not saying, you gotta live in a bubble. I'm not saying don't cross the street, right? There's a risk every time we wake up and step out of the bed and get out and drive into our cars or go to work. But we are aware of those risks. We take mitigations of those risks, right? That's the whole reason why we wear a seatbelt and things of that nature. And so being aware of the risk is then
why you don't knowingly drink poison.
I'm sorry?
That's why you don't knowingly drink poison.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I get it. And so I think, I don't know if I stole it from you or I just came across it, but it's this idea of like just returning our bodies gently used to this earth, right? Versus just like in a bag, crippled and just like a broken mess. My buddy, he once told me that and I stole it from him now, but I say, like, I just want to I want my body to outlive me. And what I mean by that is I want my joint, like, I want everything structurally to be as pristine as possible on the day I die, whether it be my brain gives out or my heart gives out or whatever it is. But I want to be able to wipe my ass until the day I die, kind of a thing.
I agree with that. Broken, not so much. Used thoroughly, sure.
Yeah.
That's how my father died. He had gotten out of the hospital, and but he was home. He was with his girl. He was with his fiance. And he just got up and went about his business, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Like, he definitely outlived his body. um,
Or his body
you
outlived
also
him.
what's that?
His body
I'm sorry,
outlived
his
him.
body outlived him. That's right. Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yep.
But um, so like I was rock climbing one time, and I remember that when I was outdoors with a big group of people, and this one guy had cut his hand really bad on this like kind of jagged outcropping, right? Despite the forewarning of many of the group who had made this climb before, hey, watch out for that ledge is sharp. So, but he didn't, and he grabbed onto it and he cut his hand.
You still wear
And
tidy whities.
well, look who it is.
I'm John. He's Paul.
That's right.
And you're tidy whities. I don't still wear tidy whities. I graduated. I went to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle tidies for a while. I think I had some Power Ranger, but then I eventually got into boxer briefs. I tried boxers for a while, football practice. That was odd. There was just too much. Too much.
That is a
falling
lot
into certain crevices. That was not.
Yeah. A lot of twisting, right? No, but this guy that was had to graduate eventually. That's right. This guy that was rock climbing cut his hand open, and it was a significant cut. It wasn't like arterial,
Okay.
right? But it was a significant cut. And I go, well, what are you gonna do? Like, and he goes, oh, and he pulls out his chalk bag and he slaps the chalk bag on this cut repeatedly.
Like a dog's nail got cut or something.
Yeah, he just slaps his chalk bag on it. He's like, all right, and I'm like, this whole like rub some dirt on it kind of thing. I mean, he's gonna go back up there. Like, nobody sanitizes that route, you know.
Well, not even
You
that.
know what I mean?
Just just a simple staph infection. Like you wouldn't even
That's
have
what I'm
to
saying.
touch anything else. You have enough staph on your skin to,
Yep.
get yourself a nasty little hickey there. So, yeah, I mean, it's that sense of if you're just rubbing dirt on it, what are you really doing? Right? You're not doing shit.
Nothing.
Right?
You have this saying where you talk pain is the first to show,
Yep.
the last to
That's
show,
the
and
one
the
I
first
stole
to
from my
go.
buddy. Pain is the last signal to show before shit goes bad, and it's going to be the first thing to go once you start doing things right.
Uh-huh.
And it's that sense of, it's just like you got a cough or cold, and you got to take medicines for that. You got to take the entire antibiotics, right? Or if you got like a Medrol pack or something, where it's like a step down pack, you got to take the entire pack, or else you get a super bug and things get worse off for you.
The thing around that, look again, covering this again, when you are a competitive athlete, the availability to do those kinds of to take those corrective measures is less.
Mm-hmm.
It is less. Like John said earlier, there's somebody willing to take your place, and unless you are one of the few truly popular and elite athletes, people will remember you fondly as they raise a glass in your honor, and then you'll be forgotten about while this next superstar is up and coming, right?
Yep.
But for those of us who want to pay attention to those things, you start to notice, pain is the last to show, like John said. So you want to start to notice when your body is whispering at you, and it manifests in ways that you might think are kind of not all that important. I had a client today ask,
I just got to warm it up.
right? Got to warm it up. I had a client, in the reverse fashion, I had a client today that said, asked me, why does this stuff never get any easier? I feel like my strength is growing. I can see it in other things, but why does it feel like when I'm actually doing these exercises or doing these correctives that I'm not any stronger? And I said, well, the thing is that we get these little cues. Usually we know when we want to pay attention to them is when they point to some kind of imbalance, but they hold true for strength development as well. So for instance, if like you're trying to increase your hip and ankle mobility or leg strength, and you're in a plank position and you're going to take your either foot to the outside of its respective hand, you might have noticed that progressively over a series of executions or days or weeks or months that it's been getting closer to that mark, right? It might have stopped well before getting outside of your hand. And then finally one day it did. And then the next thing that you're going into after that seems a lot more taxing, but that's because you've moved into more extreme versions of whatever it is. And you are in fact stronger, just you're noticing less resistance in getting there.
Something I've noticed, and I'm sure it's something that you've probably seen, but occasionally I'll be driving and I see the cigarette smoker arm.
Yeah.
And it's this interesting kind of contortion of the shoulder outside the window when they're driving. And it's that same kind of sense, I feel, right? We start out with maybe just our arm on the door, and then it's slow. Like if you are a smoker, you're probably going to have that thing going out the window, and then that gets tiring lifting your arm up in this position. So then you rest it, and then you just kind of, and the next thing you know, you're almost like able to open the door from out without even trying. I see it in jiu-jitsu a lot of times too, with people who have a lot of internally rotated shoulders. Like you can never get this move called was a Kimura, right? If someone has a lot of internally forward tilted shoulders, like it's impossible to get a goddamn Kimura on them. But you go Americana, and man, them bitches be tapping quick. And it's that same thing as they've got this over dependency this way, and over time from whatever it is we do, and then we train and exercise it, we just build, and then next thing you know, you're like, fuck, I can't lift my arm up.
So let's take that in the other way, right? You've trained this thing so that there's really less impact with regard to it, or you don't notice you don't notice that you are able to put increased demand on it. Just you absorb that more naturally. Well, let's take that and apply it. There's a video we'll get to at some point where maybe next time, but we're going to see in this video where the celebrity James Corden is working out with Mark Wahlberg, and we'll see at one point when they go to do these reverse lunges with each other, these really kinetic. What's that?
I fucked up.
Sorry. These really kinetic expressions where you had the right video.
On stretch. Sure.
There we go.
I thought we were doing a while.
So we'll see at one point on here where they go to do these reverse lunges. It's a little further in. They right there. That's it. So when they go into these things, right there. If we look here at how Mr. Corden is landing on one of his back, you see how that ankle is rotated in? Look at the guy behind him, who I assume is a trainer.
All right. I think it's Mark's regular workout partner, yeah.
Okay, and then that guy's ankle is way in line. So they're taking this guy through this James Corden. They're taking him through this effort that he is mechanically, never mind the fitness aspect of it, he is mechanically unsuited to do this exercise. He does not have the skill set to be able to do that without consciously thinking of it. This is an unconscious bias toward that external rotation of his knee. So I can tell you from looking at this, he very likely has this waddle walk, right? So when you're performing something like that, and we're throwing this video out as an example, but we were going to talk about something else later, which is when you have this kind of a thing going on, you notice like this little twinge, like John was saying, I just got to warm that up. I just need to warm this up. This is just a whatever. But when he comes out of that, he's going to notice that just like his calves are likely going to be sore, and his quads and his glutes and hams and all that, very likely he's going to feel like, my knee or my ankle or whatever else is also like some joint is going to also feel the strain of that.
And probably likely he's going to feel that louder than he will the other parts, even though he's likely deconditioned. Like when the joint pain comes I always say our bodies are single processing units. processors. And so, you know, if you have in high school, middle school, somebody be kind of saying like, "Oh, my arm hurts," and then some other buddy come by and punch them in the other arm, and I bet that arm hurts now.
Right.
And so,
Well, you know, it's one of those.
thing. You know, to the knee, feeling my knees work, dude. When clients tell me that shit, I'm just like, oh god, just. Have I taught you nothing yet?
Well, it's one of those things where we view that as some kind of a badge of honor or a flex or something. You know, oh yeah, no, my knees hurt for weeks after that. Oh, I'm never working without person again. And we all kind of laugh with the bitterness of experience, right? But it's not a flex. It is not a flex.
Nope.
All right. We have two other topics that we were going to talk about tonight. Which are something that we both support, and maybe we need to address these in a different video. Something we both support are maximizing your returns and minimizing your investment. That should just be right. Like that's a good cue for life, right? Maximize your return and minimize your investments.
Human thing, I feel.
Yeah, it's a very human thing, right? But there are only so many shortcuts that you can go through where you sacrifice necessary components in order to get a maximum return on your investment. And we want to talk about a couple of those things. Do you want to go through them tonight, or you want to tackle these next time?
Let's speed run them.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's speed roll them this time. Let's just talk through them really quick, and then we can address the things next session.
Next week.
Right. So this guy,
very, very, very handsome mustache.
right, talks about if he could only work out twice a week, he would go for these. Right. Now, if we're just going to look through this video, and we're going to see that there are there's no doubt that this person is in has a good athletic build.
Right. Bro, just like it. I hurt for him.
Right.
He's not even like. Anyways.
Now, there's no doubt that that's the case. This person is also young, and is not overly concerned with form.
He decompresses his spine with his pull-up, so it's all good.
Right.
Sorry, so smart ass.
No. So while the exercises are sure they are whatever. I mean, you can create any component, any grouping of components that you want to produce an overall or total body workout that you can do twice a week. And if that's your jam, then by all means, that's between you and how you feel. But when we look at influencers like this and we take their workouts and we go, okay, there is nothing in this video about proper biases or what you want to go for. This person is an example of someone who is after a goal and not after life, right?
Well, I would even say, like, in any event, like if only you had time to work out twice a week, you don't need fucking 315 on the bar. And you're very likely not going to be able to do 315 if you're only working out twice a week. Like maybe you built up for a while and you had to take a little bit of time back, and maybe you have a proper squat that can handle that, but very likely not so much. And you're going to have if we look real briskly here, right, we see the wrist position is broken. The elbows are pointing right back behind them. So this is immediately just telling me shoulder dysfunction. And the squat technique leaves a lot to be desired. I feel like his toes are overly externally rotated, which does give you more biases and maybe some leverage through the glutes and the legs in that regard. But again, you're talking about that one guy probably waddling. You know, when we have over commitment to our external rotators, again, we're going to be not using our core likely as much to be able to stabilize through our spine. When we watch this squat, he has kind of a two-part squat. Right, he goes down, but then he kind of shoots the hips up. He's collapsed in the stomach on the way up, and then he stands. And he's also, I mean, I know they're speed running these videos, but I feel like he's dropping the weight down versus allowing himself down. And again, he's probably
Yeah.
pushing harder through his big toe joint versus his heels, even though he might be in some lifting shoes or maybe just in some Nikes or something. But again, this to me is just like recipe for like all kinds of shit. Like what kind of injury do you want? Because he's probably going to get it eventually. Like this can be ankle issues. You probably have knee issues. You could have low back issues. You can probably have neck, wrist, elbow issues just from kind of how he's here. And that's not saying he has all of them, but individuals will have these things appear because of these various compensations. And if he did put himself in good technique, he wouldn't be able to lift this heavy. And he probably couldn't get under the bar with the technique right now, based on what I see here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if we continue on with it, the bench press, like this
God.
is horrible. This is a very bad place to be, just biomechanically, structurally for our entire spine. We have a lot of compression going into the neck, right? Because the torso is so lifted up. We were talking about this last week, I think, and it pulls the chin down. And again, all of this is just, to me, just asking for a back spasm. Like this is how one can lock their back up and not like, what did I do? I was just doing bench press, but my back just locked up and I had to roll off the bench. And so I want to see this bouncing off of his chest.
Yes. I want to say something real quick. I don't know if this if this person is that's off. You know, you're covering it. Look at the length in his abdominals, right? Look at the arch in the chest and the length in those abdominals. There is no core stabilization there. But whatever. What I'm going to talk about for just a second is I think that this is a public gym.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking gross to work out with your shirt off in a public gym.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you want to go into a room and pose with your shirt off, totally get that, right?
Don't ever
You're
come
feeling
to my
your
local
pump.
gym.
What's that?
We got a bunch of youngins, a bunch of young 20-someths, and man, they love seeing themselves without their shirts on.
If you want to go pose without your shirt on, great.
No, it's not posing. It's almost like a complex at this gym. I think it's like the gym I go to. I don't know about this dude's gym, but the gym I work out at, the youngins, they like to keep their shirts off. It's quite interesting, and they peacock a lot too.
Yeah, it's unsanitary to use equipment with your shirt off.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
I mean, not to say like, yes, people who like use gear, they're going to have skin issues, and you'll get all kinds of acne and stuff. Like back knee is a very common thing. This guy doesn't look like he's using any kind of gear necessarily, but I still get back zits from time to time. Like, you know, you might get a little scratch or something on your back. Like again, staph infections everywhere. Everybody has staph on their skin. Like, you
this is a hairy motherfucker, man.
Huh?
This guy's a hairy motherfucker, and he's like bouncing that. Then the his hair's catching all over that. I want that shit falling on me later.
Yeah.
Put your shirt on, dude. Put your shirt on. If you're in a public gym, put your shirt on. If this is your home gym, more power to you. This is not your home gym. This is a public gym.
And now what I would say too,
All
like
right.
his exercise selection isn't wrong. Like
No.
he makes good exercise
earlier,
selections, but again, we can see here. I'm gonna run that row back just because it hurts so bad. Because he's giving himself whiplash, right? And not the fun drum solo whiplash.
Right.
So
Well, there's this aspect of
if we watch this bar, he's not pulling it. He's throwing himself up. It's kind of a little bit momentum, and he pulls his body to the bar because he can't physically pull the bar to that position with his own strength. We see this all the time with like bicep curls. People swing the weight up, or they crunching into the weight, and so the weight's getting closer, but we're actually not getting any better movement. And sure, maybe you get a big pump in your back, but I wonder what's happening to your spine, like your cervical spine, with this whiplashing effect.
Yeah.
And then probably even watch his feet. I didn't even think about that earlier, but is he even keeping stable feet during all this? And it even looks like he might be turning it over a little bit too versus a straight pull. But I mean, he's having to use so much body English. Now I will say these deadlifts don't look terrible. Like,
deadlifts don't look
good,
terrible.
actually. And then you had some things you wanted to say about this.
Well, pause it right there. Right there. You see where those folds are?
Right
That's
here.
where most compression's happening, right? There's no stabilization there. I mean, his abs are not tucked, and I'm sorry, his abs are not active, and
He's
he's
holding
pushing.
rocks
I mean,
back here too.
right. The press itself, whatever. I mean, if you look up, if you arch up, if you lift your chest up more, you're going to be hitting more of your pec and more of your anterior delt. Fine, you know, whatever. If you lift straight overhead, you're going to be hitting a little less of that, more like trap and medial head of the delt. Fine, whatever. But that level of compression,
And then
that
tag
is
that
a
too. Tag this too, right? He was doing his bench press.
yeah.
And think about how
Just
his bench press looked, where he had the same kind of features going on for it. And so, to your
Yep.
point, right? Like, we are hyper short back here. And if one, I mean, this is easy to set off a back spasm that won't let loose.
Yep.
And then we're
Yeah.
hobbling around and waddling and taking all kinds of NSAIDs and other things. The other thing I was kind of highlighting while you're talking, right? We can see the bar level, or rather the unlevelness of it. Unless his
Yeah.
cameraman's got a platform shoe on one side. Right. But we see that he's so concerned with getting the weight up and back down that there is no sense of, are we pushing or driving harder on one side, or are we again keeping everything as even as we can throughout the lift.
So look, all of these things this one's great. To decompress the spine. These pull-ups are necessary like this because of the way he just got done doing that overhead press. Now look, all this is to say this guy's obviously strong. I mean, he's got a great physique. But the thing is that he is doing whatever it takes. What's that?
How long can you operate this way?
Right. And how long can you operate doing whatever it takes to get the goal done for something that's ultimately elective, right? Doing whatever it takes to get the job done so that safety protocols are met. That's not as sexy or glamorous, but okay. Anyway, our next video that we were going to address is this SI joint pain and fix. It's a really short video, and we can just go through it. It's not a long video, and there's nothing. I want to say first, there's nothing inherently wrong at all with what this person is
suggesting. Technique, I think.
What's that?
I think it's a good technique, especially if you are an individual who needs this. And I think how we define who needs this is where this lives and dies, right?
Yeah. So essentially what this person is suggesting is that you have 3 sets of knees squeezed together, knees slightly open, knees further open, just a bit, press in against the knees, out against the hands with each one of those successive sets. And then what you eventually have is activation around your SI joint. Then at the very end of it, you go and you brace an elbow, forearm in between the knees and squeeze in. And that will supposedly shift your SI joint. And for many people, this very thing, notice that she keeps the feet together so that it's just the external rotators that are under fire there, and the internal rotators and how they relate to each other. And that's all great. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. This is not a bad way to go about things. But the thing that you have to remember always, that there are only 2 methods for pain relief as far as physical solutions go. Now, or solutions that you will perform yourself. Now, you can go take a pain reliever, get like some kind of injection or whatever else, right? But all of them fall into passive or active. The difference is whenever you engage in a passive solution, right? It is not an active reset, meaning you're not creating let me put it this way. If I have a heavy load that I need to carry from my car to my house and I'm not strong enough to do it, I go and I pay somebody to do it, they carry it in, and bam, that's my solution. The whatever the item was in my car, now it's in my house. That was me being passive about it. Someone else did the work for me.
Well, I was going to say, it's like you can read all the books in the world on how to be a great camper or how to do anything, right? But until you actually get out in the woods and pitch your tent and get your kindling and actually make a little fire going, right? Like you ain't done shit.
Applied knowledge, right? Yeah. So let's take this scenario.
Active, though? Because again, to the activity, she is creating an isostatic effort, so and resisting it with her limbs. And I feel like some corrective exercises that you work with clients is a similar effort. And then she's coming back in again and also activating her adductors in this position. So 100%.
No, it is active, but there's the problem there is that there's more than one issue with an SI joint, or more than one possible cause of an SI joint issue.
And the SI joint, for those who may not know, that's where your thong goes down between your cheeks.
Yes, on either side. That's
hammer,
correct.
Whichever one you like.
Whatever your jam is.
Not the front side.
The back side, not the front side. That's right. It's called the sacroiliac, where the sacrum and the ilium meet, like right where the sacrum kind of is like a downward facing arrowhead.
Yep.
Right at the widest points, just beyond that is where the SI joint is. So this is an active effort, but it technically is a passive reset, simply because this is to get out of pain. This is a described thing to get out of pain. True SI stabilization is going to come from a series of well-performed exercises, right? And core stabilization and reciprocating agreements between muscle groups and all that. This is a temporary thing. It takes, I think all told, the whole thing takes like 20 seconds.
30-second video with her explaining it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's five. Right.
Right. To your point, right. It's getting, this is again similar to, we taking ibuprofen or we get a massage or something of that nature that gets us out of that pain cave, but that's not the complete solution, right? We have to then retrain the system as a whole how to incorporate this more free moving SI joint now. So that way it doesn't relock up, because the whole reason why your SI joint, to your point, right, is your SI joint is this very immovable joint, really. It's a very small movement that occurs through there, but like all of our spine transfers through this place. And so if all of our movement, I should say, from our upper body to our lower body transfers through this space. And if it's not stabilized appropriately through, like you're saying, like our appropriate tucking the tailbone through our lower abs and keeping that appropriate tension where it needs to, then those muscles are going to start locking up, so that way there is not instability going through that SI joint. And so there's not instability going up and through our spine, because if there were, then you wouldn't have a good time either.
Well, so this enters into what we call survivorship, right? So the idea there is that you're just doing this to get out of pain. This is not addressing.
What I meant by survivor bias, though, is everyone's in here going to
no this thing, not what you were saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Well, what you were saying is spot on, right? That is what is that called? I forget. I forget what the technical term for it, but just like this is more along the lines of, progression or getting stronger. Like what you were talking about is how to build an environment where this isn't necessary.
Correct.
And the thing about this kind of thing is that again, nothing wrong with this. And if you have SI pain and you can't find the cause of it, or you are actively working on the cause of it, and this thing is helping, by all means, do this thing. But it has the same efficacy for long-term change as like a massage.
Yeah.
Or any kind of like a chiropractic adjustment, which I'm not shitting on any of that. I'm saying that it is as good as your habit has not had a chance to fuck with it yet. And that's all, right? When we're on a massage table and we feel super relaxed, that's great. The second we get up, we start the clock ticking backward until we need to go get another massage.
Unless we go out and retrain our bodies after that massage, because now we'll have more access to properly engage things, as it were. I always said, if money weren't for nothing, man, I think it'd be awesome to try this experiment of getting like a good trigger point massage session before I went to work out. And again, you have to be lower intensities and things of that nature, because you don't want to fuck yourself up more. Because your body might be a little bit more unstable than it's used to as you're kind of renegotiating all these things. But I think it'd be an excellent thing to be able to have that. But that's also, again, costs a lot of money, and then it's a passive effort, and it's not going to be a sustainable system for oneself. The other thing I think too is she talks about getting this click and this pop.
Yeah.
And this is one thing that does. I didn't talk about it with you earlier before, but it has me a little bit concerned in that if you don't get the pop, then does people begin trying to search and try harder to generate a pop? And you gotta keep in mind, like, poppings are okay, and typically it's just like gases being released from a joint and whatnot. But it's like, we don't want to, if you twist and grab on your back and you just crank until you get a pop, we're going to end up starting to create laxity in your spinal vertebrae, because you're overstretching your ligaments and tendons in your spine to create that. Here's a little different in that you're using the forces of the muscles themselves, but the sense of trying to generate this perceived pop to get your relief. Again, I don't advise searching for that. I think it's like a good disclaimer to know that it may occur, but that if it doesn't happen, doesn't mean it's not going to help you or not going to be beneficial either.
Yeah. So there's nothing inherently wrong with a passive fix. The thing is that it's just that it's a quick fix. And so don't become overly reliant on it. And that's all, right? Like, then again, should also say that's one of those things where that's between you and your pain. If you're like, nope, this does it, and that's all I want, that's all I give a shit about, more power to you, do that thing. It's about fulfillment, not about what somebody else wants for you. That being said, we do want the best for you, and the best thing for anyone is going to be to try and develop an active solution to whatever the problem might be, right? Right, to an active problem. I mean, in the end, what we're always talking about with fitness is a long-term solution to an active problem. Like when you're talking about fitness and you're talking about, like, I want to increase mobility. I have a lack of mobility. I want to increase that in the long term. I have a lack of strength, which is really, when you get down to it all, when you boil away all the shit, it's always that, right? It's a lack of strength in one area, and that's basically the fix. But it is to train yourself into whatever.
Right. Typically, when I get new clients, they'll tell me they want to strengthen their low back.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong that they may need to strengthen their low back, but it's more commonly that they have a weak core and they're feeling the pain and the tenderness of their low back, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Big Bean Burrito. Big hot daddy pog.
Pog. What is a pog? Big hot daddy pog.
He's got all the emojis. It's okay. I forget what it was a gamer, and I forget the story of it, but I think he makes this. Yeah, he makes this face of. Yeah, it's called pog.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know what any of these mean. I wish I did. I wish I
It's all right. I'm sure we
I
can
wish
go,
we
I'm
didn't
sure we
have
can go to
language
AI
barrier.
and type
Yeah.
it in, teach me on emojis on Twitch, so that way I can be cool.
Now, Dr. Marin, I want to make it clear. Dr. Marin, who we talked about, who we just featured in the
stream.
in the last one, based out of Fort Lauderdale,
Oh, cool.
is suggesting a really, really great passive fix, right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. And I want to make that clear. Nobody's shitting on it. What we're after, though, as far as we're concerned, is showing people how to get active in their recovery and in their progression. So, on that note, and we just had the thing pop up on the chat about our LLM prompt. We are working on several things behind the scenes, and one of those has been the development of our LLM prompt. If you go to our website, rangefitnessonline.com, and you sign up or you supply us with your email address, we will send you a couple of things, and one of them being a link to our LLM prompt that you can copy and put into any AI that you feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And after you go and fill out the necessary information in the prompt, and it will give you a curated version of, yes, as John is pointing out here, you can go down, supply your email address, and it will give you if you go in and you fill in the necessary portions of the prompt, then copy paste that into your favorite AI. It will spit out a more curated version of a workout or a recovery metric or whatever than you would get just searching blindly. And although it is not by any means meant to be a replacement for a personal trainer, it certainly does a good job of bridging things in the interim. Once again, rangefitnessonline.com. And if you have any questions about that, again, you can supply us an email and ask, or you can just find us on one of our socials. Send us an email without giving us yours on the website. That's fine too.
Or you can hit us up on a DM on Twitch. I'll reach out back to you out there. We got our subreddit. We got a subreddit by the same name, Range Fitness Online. Paul's on Blue Sky from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, you can reach us on any one of these.
That's prevalent on there lately, but
that's okay. No matter what, we still get the notices. So feel free to send us a message if you want, if you have a question. In the meantime,
stay mindful.
And until next time,
y'all.
And don't compensate. Thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. And
you still wear tighty whities, and anybody else that was out there, I appreciate y'all. And if you're up for it, Thursday morning, we got grinding gains. Get your workout videos up there, and I'll critique them and help you out. So that way you don't look like Mr. Shreds throwing your back out, even though you might have a sexy mustache.
All right. Well, thank you again. And John, I'll see you next time.
Y'all be easy. Thank y'all.